The bathroom light flickered as Rebecca stared at her phone screen, her heart pounding so hard she could hear it over the club music bleeding through the walls. What had she just done? Her finger hovered over the sent message. The thumbnail was small, but she knew exactly what it showed. Red lace. Bare skin. The kind of photo you sent to someone you were sleeping with. Not your potential business partner. Not a billionaire CEO whose company could make or break your career. Definitely not Kong Jae-min. Heat rose from her chest to her face as the reality crashed over her like ice water. This wasn't just embarrassing. This was career suicide. This was... Her phone buzzed. I believe this was not meant for me. She stopped breathing. Another buzz followed. But now that I have it, we should meet. In that moment, she knew her life was about to change forever. Because Kong Jae-min wasn't just a CEO. He was something far more dangerous. Something she was about to discover the hard way. If you want to see how this mistake turned into the most dangerous romance of Rebecca's life, hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. 24 hours earlier, her life had been normal. Stressful, sure, but normal. Rebecca had worked, for a mid-sized marketing firm in Seoul that was hemorrhaging clients faster than it could replace them. Their last hope was landing a partnership with Kong Corporation, one of the most powerful conglomerates in South Korea. And she was the one tasked with making it happen. You need to relax, Christy said, pulling her toward the club entrance. You sent the proposal. There's nothing more you can do tonight. Christy was her best friend, and the only person who could drag her out when she was stressed. She was everything Rebecca wasn't. Bold, carefree, the kind of woman who turned heads just by walking into a room. I should be home, Rebecca protested, even as her feet kept moving forward. What if they email me? What if, Rebecca? Christy grabbed her shoulders, her dark eyes serious despite the playful smile. You've been working 18-hour days for 3 weeks. You deserve one night to feel alive. Plus, you look amazing, and I refuse to let that dress go to waste. She wasn't wrong. The black dress hugged every curve, with a neckline professional enough for dinner, but daring enough for dancing. Rebecca had bought it weeks ago for a celebration she hoped they'd have after landing the deal. The club was packed, the bass thrumming through Rebecca's chest as she and Christy pushed through the crowd. Colored lights strobed across sweaty bodies moving to the rhythm. Christy ordered them drinks, something fruity and strong, and within minutes, Rebecca felt the tension in her shoulders begin to melt. See, Christy shouted over the music, her hips swaying. Doesn't this feel better than staring at your laptop? Rebecca laughed, taking another sip. Christy was right. The music, the energy, the feeling of being young and alive instead of stressed and overworked. It was exactly what she needed. They danced for what felt like hours. Christy attracted attention wherever she went, and that night was no exception. 2 guys approached them, both handsome, both interested. They entertained them for a song or two, but when one got too handsy, Rebecca and Christy exchanged a look and slipped away, laughing. Bathroom break, Rebecca said, her head spinning pleasantly from the alcohol and movement. The bathroom was a stark contrast to the chaos outside. Quieter, cooler, but still pulsing with muffled bass. She locked herself in a stall and pulled out her phone, and that was when she saw it. 7 missed calls from her office. 3 emails marked urgent. Her stomach dropped. She had forgotten to attach the final document to the proposal. The financial breakdown that showed exactly how profitable the partnership would be for Kong Corporation. Without it, the whole proposal was incomplete. Shit, she muttered, fumbling with her phone. Her hand shook as she opened her email app. She found the document in her files, but her phone was being slow, too slow. The Wi-Fi signal was weak in the bathroom. Come on, she whispered, watching the loading circle spin. Then she had an idea. She had taken a photo of the document earlier as a backup. She could send that, with a note apologizing for the confusion. It wasn't professional, but it was better than nothing. She opened her messages, found Kong Jae-min's contact. They had exchange numbers for business purposes, and selected a photo from her gallery. Or at least, she thought she did. Being tipsy and stressed had ruined her fine motor skills. Her fingers slipped. Instead of selecting the document photo, she selected the one right next to it. The one she had taken for herself earlier that evening, before going out. The one she had sent to a man she had been casually seeing. Red lace bodysuit, bare thighs, bedroom eyes, and a come-here smile. She hit send before she even registered what she had done. The whoosh sound seemed impossibly loud in the quiet bathroom. Rebecca stared at the screen, watched the message deliver, watched it switch to read. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. For a moment, she couldn't move, couldn't think. Her entire body went cold despite the heat from dancing still clinging to her skin. She had just sent a half-naked photo of herself to one of the most powerful men in South Korea, a man she had never even met in person, a man whose decision could save her company or destroy it. Her phone buzzed in her trembling hand. I believe this was not meant for me. Her vision blurred. She felt like she might throw up. Before she could type a response, what response could she possibly give? Another message appeared. But now that I have it, we should meet. She read it 3 times. 4 times. Trying to find some other meaning, some way to interpret it that didn't sound like. Like what? A threat? A proposition? Interest? Her fingers flew across the keyboard, deleting and retyping the same apology a dozen different ways. Nothing seemed adequate. Nothing seemed like enough to undo what she had just done. Finally, she settled on, I'm so sorry. That was a terrible mistake. Please delete it. His response came almost immediately. Monday, 7 p.m. I'll send you the address. Then another message followed. Don't be late, Rebecca. The way he used her name made her skin prickle. Not in fear exactly, but in something else. Something she couldn't yet name. Rebecca stumbled out of the bathroom. Her high from dancing completely evaporated. Christy took one look at her face, and her smile dropped. What happened? You look like you've seen a ghost. I need to go home. Rebecca, talk to me. What? Not here. Rebecca's voice came out sharper than she intended. Please, Christy. I need to leave. Now. Christy didn't argue. Within minutes, they were in a taxi, and Rebecca told her everything. She showed her the messages. Christy's eyes went wide, then wider. Holy shit, she breathed. Holy actual shit, Rebecca. I know. Do you know who Kang Jae-min is? Like really no. He's the CEO of... No. Christy's voice dropped low, serious in a way Rebecca rarely heard from her. I mean, yes, he's a CEO, but there are rumors. Really dark rumors. About his family. About how they actually make their money. Rebecca's blood turned to ice. What kind of rumors? The kind people only whisper about. Organized crime. Underground deals. The kind of man you don't want to owe anything to. Christy grabbed her hand. Rebecca, I'm not trying to scare you, but you need to be careful. This isn't just embarrassing. This could be dangerous. He wants to meet me Monday, and you're going to tell him no. Christy, he has my proposal. My company needs this deal. I can't just... Yes, you can. Christy's grip tightened. Whatever happens with your company, it's not worth your safety. Promise me you'll think about this. Rebecca wanted a promise. But deep down, she knew she couldn't refuse. Not when he had phrased it like a command, not a request, and not when part of her, a small, reckless part, was already curious about what Monday night would bring. The weekend passed in a blur of anxiety and obsessive phone checking. Rebecca drafted a dozen messages to Kang Jae-min and deleted them all. What did she say? How did you apologize for something like that? On Sunday night, she barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw those messages. But now that I have it, we should meet. What did he want? Was this some kind of power play? Revenge for the embarrassment? Or something else entirely? Monday morning arrived like a death sentence. Rebecca dragged herself to work, exhausted and anxious, only to find her boss practically vibrating with excitement in the hallway. Rebecca, my office. Now. Her stomach dropped. Had Kong Corporation rejected the proposal? Worse, had they complained about her? But when she entered his office, he was smiling. Actually smiling. We got it, he said, barely containing his excitement. Kong Corporation accepted the proposal. Full partnership. They want to start immediately. Rebecca blinked, certain she had heard wrong. They accepted? Not only accepted, they requested you specifically as the primary liaison. They want you handling all communication with their office. Apparently, you made quite the impression. The room tilted slightly. Made an impression. That was one way to put it. That's wonderful, she managed. Wonderful. Rebecca, this saves the company. You save the company. He clapped her on the shoulder. Take the day to celebrate. Tomorrow, you'll start coordinating with their team. She left his office in a daze. The partnership was approved. She should have been thrilled. Instead, she felt like she had just made a deal with the devil. Her phone buzzed. An address. Gangnam. One of the most expensive districts in Seoul. 7 p.m. Don't forget. as if she could forget. The message had been burned into her brain since Friday night. Rebecca spent the rest of Monday in a fog, mechanically going through the motions at work while her mind raced with possibilities. What would she say to him? How would she explain herself? And more importantly, what did he want from her? By 6 p.m., she stood in front of her closet, paralyzed by indecision. The black dress, Christy said from the bed, where she had planted herself an hour earlier. Professional but not cold. You need to look confident. I don't feel confident. Then fake it. Christy stood and pulled the dress from the closet. Rebecca, listen to me. Men like Kong Jae-min, they can smell fear. Whatever he wants tonight, you can't let him see you scared. What if nothing? You go in there, you apologize like the professional you are, and you leave. That's it. Don't let him intimidate you into anything else. Easy for Christy to say. She wasn't the one who had accidentally sent a half-naked photo to a man rumored to have ties to organized crime. The dress fit perfectly, tailored, elegant, hitting just above the knee. Rebecca paired it with heels that added 3 inches to her height. Armor disguised as fashion. The restaurant address he had sent was for a place she had only read about in magazines. The kind of establishment where reservations were made months in advance, and a single meal cost more than her monthly rent. The taxi dropped her off at 6:55 p.m. She stood outside, watching Seoul's elite filter in and out, and seriously considered running. Her phone buzzed. I can see you from the window. Come inside, Rebecca. Her heart jumped in her throat. He was watching her. She scanned the building's facade, but couldn't pinpoint which window. The sensation of being observed made her skin prickle with awareness. There was no running now. The interior was exactly as elegant as she had imagined. Soft lighting, rich dark wood, the quiet murmur of exclusive conversations. A hostess approached immediately, her smile professional and distant. Name? Rebecca. Ah, yes. Mr. Kong is expecting you. This way, please. She was led through the main dining room, past tables of businessmen and wealthy couples, to a private room at the back. The door was solid wood, heavy and imposing. The hostess knocked once, then opened it. Your guest has arrived, Mr. Kong. Thank you. The voice was deep and controlled, edged with an authority that expected obedience. An involuntary shiver ran down Rebecca's spine. She stepped inside. The private room was intimate. 1 table, 2 chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city lights. But she barely registered the decor because her attention locked onto the man standing by the window. Kong Jae-min. He was taller than she had expected, easily over 6 feet, with the kind of build that suggested disciplined physical training beneath the impeccably tailored charcoal suit. A sharp jawline, dark eyes that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, and an expression of calculated control. He was beautiful in the way a blade was beautiful, elegant, precise, and undeniably dangerous. Rebecca. He said her name, as if he were tasting it. Please sit. It wasn't a request. She moved to the chair on unsteady legs, acutely aware of his gaze, tracking her every movement. He didn't sit immediately. Instead, he poured wine into 2 glasses with practiced ease, then finally took his seat across from her. Up close, he was even more intimidating. Those dark eyes studied Rebecca with an intensity that made her feel exposed, as though he could see straight through every defense she had carefully constructed. She started, but he lifted one hand. Let me speak first. His voice was soft, yet it commanded absolute attention. Friday night, you sent me something unexpected. Heat flooded her face. Mr. Kong, I'm so incredibly sorry. It was an accident, a terrible mistake. I was trying to send you the financial document for the proposal, and I know what you were trying to do. He took a sip of wine, his eyes never leaving hers. The real document arrived approximately 30 seconds after the photo. You were drunk, stressed, and your hand slipped. The fact that he had analyzed the situation so precisely was somehow more unnerving than anger would have been. Yes, she whispered. Exactly that. I'm mortified, and I completely understand if you want to. Want what? Cancel a partnership. One corner of his mouth lifted in something that might have been amusement. Why would I do that? Your proposal was excellent. Your company is exactly what we need for the Korean market expansion. Rebecca blinked. Then, why am I here? Because of what happened after the photo. Her confusion must have shown, because he leaned back in his chair with predatory ease and continued. You didn't beg. You didn't offer me anything in exchange for my discretion. You simply apologized and asked me to delete it. His head tilted slightly. That interested me. Most people in your position would have tried to negotiate, to offer something to ensure my silence. But you didn't. There's nothing I could offer someone like you. Someone like me? His tone sharpened just slightly. What do you think I am, Rebecca? The question felt like a trap. A very powerful businessman. Is that all? She met his gaze, Christie's warnings echoing in her mind. Should it be something else? For a long moment, he studied her. Then he smiled. A real smile this time, though it didn't quite reach his eyes. You're smarter than you let people think. I appreciate that. He gestured toward the menu. Now let's eat. I'm sure you haven't had dinner, and we have business to discuss. The meal unfolded like a careful dance. Professional conversation layered with an undercurrent of tension. He asked about her background, her career, what had brought her to Seoul. Ordinary questions, yet the way he listened, fully focused, absorbing every detail, made each answer feel significant. You're not Korean, he observed, though it was obvious. What made you choose Seoul? Opportunity, she said carefully. The marketing industry here is innovative. I want to be somewhere I could grow. And have you? Grown. I'm still here, aren't I? That earned her another almost smile. Yes, you are. As dinner progressed, Rebecca found herself relaxing, just slightly. He was intense, undeniably dangerous beneath that controlled exterior, but he was also intelligent, compelling. His attention felt like both a privilege and a warning. The partnership, she finally said as dessert arrived. What exactly do you need from me? Everything involving our collaboration goes through you. Reports, meetings, strategy sessions. You'll be my direct point of contact with your company. That's a lot of responsibility. Can you handle it? The challenge in his voice sparked something defiant in her. Yes. Good. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a business card. Not the corporate one she'd seen online, but something more personal. My private number. Call me anytime, day or night. She took the card, her fingers brushing his for a fraction of a second. The contact sent a jolt of electricity up her arm. Mr. Kong. Jae-min, he corrected. When we're alone, call me Jae-min. The intimacy of the request made her pulse quicken. I'm not sure that's appropriate. I'm not sure I care about appropriate. He stood and moved around the table with fluid grace. Come, I'll take you home. That's not necessary. I can get a taxi. He was behind her chair now, close enough that she could smell his cologne, expensive, subtly masculine. When he spoke, his voice was low, meant only for her. Rebecca, I'm going to be very clear with you. That photo, I didn't delete it. Her breath caught. I should have, he continued, his hand resting on the back of her chair, not touching her, but close enough that she could feel his presence. But I didn't, because from the moment I saw it, I couldn't stop thinking about you, about who you were, about what it would feel like to. He stopped himself, but the unfinished sentence lingered between them, heavy with implication. This isn't professional, Rebecca managed, though her voice shook despite her effort to steady it. No, he agreed. It's not, but it's honest. He stepped in front of her, and she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. I'm not a good man, Rebecca. I won't pretend to be, but I'm a direct man, and I'm directly telling you that I want to see you again. Not for business. For this. For what? For whatever this is. His hand lifted, and for a heart-stopping moment she thought he might touch her face. Instead, he pulled back. But I'm not going to force anything. If you want to keep this strictly professional, say so now. I'll respect that boundary. Everything Christie had warned her about echoed in her mind. The danger, the risk, the smart choice. The sensible thing would have been to refuse, to draw a clear line and never cross it. But when she opened her mouth, what came out was, I need time to think. His smile was slow and satisfied. Take all the time you need. But Rebecca, yes, I'm a very patient man, but I always get what I want. The car he had arranged was sleek and black, the driver silent and discreet. The ride home passed in silence, Rebecca's thoughts colliding in restless chaos. What was she doing? Everything about him signaled danger. And yet she couldn't stop thinking about the way he had looked at her, as if she were the only person in the world, as if he could see past every wall she had built and had decided she was worth wanting anyway. When she got home, Christie was waiting, sprawled across the couch with a bottle of wine. Well, Christie demanded before Rebecca had even closed the door. Tell me everything. Are you okay? Did he threaten you? Do we need to go to the police? No, nothing like that. Rebecca sank onto the couch beside her. It was strange. Strange how. He was a gentleman. Professional. We talked about the partnership, about work. He bought me dinner. Christy's eyes narrowed. But there was something else. Something underneath. Rebecca accepted the wine glass Christy handed her. He said he wants to see me again. For business. No, not for business. Rebecca, I know what you're going to say. Rebecca cut in. That it's dangerous. That I should stay away. That men like him are. I was actually going to ask if you want to see him again. That stopped her short. What? Christy shrugged, a knowing smile tugging at her lips. You're my best friend, and I worry about you. But I also know that look on your face. You're interested. I shouldn't be. Maybe not. But you are. Christy, pour more wine. Just be careful, okay? Men like Kong Jae-min don't do casual. If you get involved with him, it's going to be intense. All-consuming. Are you ready for that? Rebecca stared into her glass, the question echoing in her mind. Was she? She had no idea. That night, lying in bed, Rebecca couldn't stop replaying the evening. The way his voice had dropped when he said her name. The almost touch that had left her aching for more. The promise in his eyes that hinted at dark, dangerous things. Her phone lit up on the nightstand. A message from an unknown number. Sleep well, Rebecca. Dream of me. She should have been annoyed by his audacity. Instead, she fell asleep with a smile on her face, wondering what kind of dreams a man like Kong Jae-min would inspire. The next morning, she arrived at work to find a security detail waiting in the lobby. Ms. Rebecca. The lead guard's tone was professional, his expression carefully neutral. We've been assigned by Kong Corporation to ensure your safety during the partnership period. Safety? I don't need. Mr. Kong insists. His tone made it clear the matter wasn't negotiable. We'll maintain a discreet distance, but you'll have protection at all times. Protection from what? Rebecca wanted to ask, but something in the guard's expression told her she wouldn't like the answer. She called Jae-min immediately. Why do I have bodyguards? She demanded the moment he answered. Good morning to you too, he said, a smile audible in his voice. Did you sleep well? Jae-min. The security is necessary. Being associated with me comes with certain complications. What kind of complications? There was a pause. The kind I'd rather explain in person. Have dinner with me again. Tonight. I can't keep having dinner with you every night. Why not? She knew the real answers. Because it was confusing. Because he was confusing. Because every moment near him felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, deciding whether to jump. Because it's not appropriate, she said instead. There's that word again. Appropriate. His voice dropped lower. Rebecca, I've spent my entire life being appropriate. Doing what's expected. Building the right image. And I'm very, very tired of it. So when I say I want to have dinner with you, what I mean is that I want to spend time with someone who makes me feel like I'm not just a role to play. Can you understand that? The honesty in his words made her chest ache. One dinner, she conceded. But somewhere normal. Not another exclusive restaurant. Agreed. I'll pick you up at 7. He ended the call before she could change her mind. That evening, Jae-min picked her up in a different car. Still expensive, but less obvious. There was no driver this time. Just him, dressed in dark jeans and a fitted black shirt that somehow made him look even more dangerous than he did in a suit. Where are we going? Rebecca asked as she slid into the passenger seat. You said somewhere normal. He pulled into traffic with practiced ease. I'm taking you to my favorite pojamika. She blinked. You eat at street food stalls? Why do you sound so surprised? Because you're you. He laughed, the first genuine laugh she had heard from him. It transformed his face, softening the sharp lines into something almost boyish. You think because I run a corporation, I've forgotten what good food tastes like? Rebecca, the best meals I've ever had cost less than $10. The pojamika was tucked into a narrow alley in Itaewon, plastic chairs and tables scattered beneath a worn orange tent. The smell of grilling meat and kimchi filled the air. It was perfect, busy enough to offer anonymity, casual enough to feel real. They sat across from each other at a small table, and Jae-min ordered in rapid Korean. Far more food than two people could reasonably eat. So, Rebecca said once the soju arrived, are you going to tell me why I need bodyguards? His expression shifted, the lightness fading. Direct as always. You said you appreciated that about me. I do. He poured soju for both of them, the clear liquid catching the glow of the string lights overhead. But this conversation requires alcohol. That didn't sound promising. He downed a shot, then met her gaze. My family isn't just in business, Rebecca. We're involved in other things. Investments that exist in gray areas. Partnerships with people who don't operate within legal boundaries. You're saying you're involved with organized crime. I'm saying the line between legitimate and illegitimate business is thinner than people like to believe. Especially in Korea. Especially at the level my family operates. He poured another shot, but didn't drink it. My father built the empire. I inherited it. And with it, I inherited enemies. Enemies who might target me because I'm working with you. Enemies who might target you because they've noticed I'm interested in you. His jaw tightened. Being seen with me is dangerous. Rebecca, that's why I wanted you to understand before this went any further. The food arrived, steaming tteokbokki, perfectly grilled samgyeopsal, crispy Korean fried chicken, but Rebecca's appetite vanished. Why tell me this? She asked quietly. Why not just keep it hidden? Because I'm tired of hiding. The rawness in his voice caught her off guard. Every relationship I've had has been a transaction. Every woman I've dated knew exactly who I was and what I could offer. Power, money, status. But you. He leaned forward, his eyes intense. You looked at me with fear, yes, but also with something else. Like you saw past the reputation to the person underneath. And I realized I wanted more of that. More of you seeing me. Her heart raced. Jamin, I'm not asking you to commit to anything, he interrupted. I'm asking you to give me a chance. Let me take you out. Let me show you who I am when I'm not playing the role of CEO or family heir. And if at any point you want to walk away, I'll let you go. The partnership continues regardless. Your job is safe. You have my word. And if I stay, she asked. What then? Then we see where this goes, he said quietly. Together. Everything about it was a terrible idea. He had essentially confirmed his involvement in criminal activity. She should have been calling the police, not sitting across from him under a flickering orange tent, eating street food, and feeling her resolve crumble with every word he spoke. The truth was, Rebecca had never felt more alive than she did in that moment. Sitting in a random pojangmaka with a man who was simultaneously the most dangerous and the most fascinating person she had ever met. One more date, she heard herself say. That's all I'm promising. His smile was devastating. One more date is all I'm asking. They talked for hours, about everything and nothing. He told her about growing up under impossible expectations, about the weight of a legacy he had never asked for. She told him about moving to Seoul alone, about the loneliness of building a life in a foreign country. Why Korea? He asked, reaching across the table to steal a piece of tteokbokki from her plate. Of all the places you could have gone. Honestly, Rebecca took a sip of soju. I needed distance. From my family, from expectations, from the person everyone thought I should be. I want to prove I could build something on my own. And have you? I'm trying. You're succeeding. His hand brushed hers on the table, and this time he didn't pull away. You're stronger than you think, Rebecca. The touch was electric. His fingers were warm, slightly rough, and the simple contact sent her pulse racing. You don't know me well enough to say that. Then let me get to know you better. His thumb traced slow circles against her palm. Stay with me tonight. Not, he added quickly, catching her expression. Not like that. I just want more time with you. We can go to my place, talk more, watch a movie. Something normal. Every rational thought in her mind screamed that this was moving too fast. But the way he looked at her, the vulnerability in his eyes, so at odds with everything she'd heard about him. Okay, she whispered. But just talking. Just talking. He agreed, though the heat in his gaze suggested that talking might not be all either of them wanted. His apartment was in one of Seoul's most exclusive buildings, the kind with a private elevator and a view that stretched across the entire city. But what surprised Rebecca wasn't the luxury. It was how lived in it felt. Books everywhere. Art that looked personally chosen, not staged. A kitchen that showed signs of actual use. You cook? She asked, noticing the neatly organized spice rack. It helps me think. He shrugged out of his jacket, and she tried not to stare at the way the shirt clung to his shoulders. Wine? Or are you done with alcohol for the night? Wine is fine. He poured them each a glass of red, then gestured toward the massive sectional sofa facing the windows. Make yourself comfortable. I promise I don't bite. Unless asked. The words slipped out before she could stop them. His eyes darkened with something predatory. Unless asked, he confirmed, his voice dropping an octave. Heat rushed through her. This was dangerous territory, and they both knew it. Rebecca sat on the sofa, tucking her legs beneath her. Jamin settled beside her, close but not touching. Below them, the city lights glittered, soul alive and restless in the dark. "Tell me something true," he said softly. "Something you don't tell most people." She considered deflecting, keeping things light, but something about the moment, the quiet intimacy, the way he was watching her, demanded honesty. "I'm lonely," she admitted. "Even with Christy, even with work, I feel like I'm always performing, always being the professional, capable version of myself. Sometimes I wonder if anyone actually sees me beneath all that." "I see you." The certainty in his voice made her chest tighten. "You barely know me. I know you're brave enough to build a life in a country where you didn't speak the language. I know you're loyal. You could have protected yourself when you sent that photo, but you took full responsibility. I know you're attracted to me, even though everything in your head is telling you to run." He shifted closer, his thigh brushing hers. "And I know that right now, you're wondering what it would feel like if I kissed you." Her breath caught. "That's presumptuous. Is it wrong?" "No. God help her. It wasn't wrong at all." "Jamin, I'm going to be honest with you, Rebecca. I want you. I wanted you from the moment I saw that photo, and every minute I spend with you makes me want you more." His hand rose to cup her face, thumb brushing her cheekbone. "But I'm not going to push. If you want me to stop, say so. If you want me to take you home, I will. But if you want this even a fraction as much as I do." He left the sentence unfinished, giving her the choice. She should have chosen safety, should have asked him to take her home, should have remembered all of Christie's warnings about danger and darkness. Instead, she leaned into his touch. "Kiss me." The permission barely left her mouth before his lips were on hers. The kiss began soft, tentative, almost questioning. But the moment she responded, something ignited between them. His hand slid into her hair, angling her head as the kiss deepened. His other arm wrapped around her waist, pulling her closer until she was practically in his lap. He tasted like soju and want, and the way he kissed her, like he was trying to memorize every sensation, made her entire body come alive. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against hers. "I should take you home," he said, voice rough, "before I do something we're not ready for. What if I don't want to go home?" "Rebecca," her name was a warning. "If you stay, I don't trust myself to be a gentleman. Maybe I don't want a gentleman." His control visibly cracked. In one smooth motion, he stood, pulling her up with him. For a moment, she thought he was calling her bluff, actually taking her home. Instead, he backed her against the window, the cool glass of shock against her heated skin. "You're dangerous," he murmured, his lips trailing down her neck. "Do you know that?" She couldn't form words, not with his mouth doing things that made her knees weak. His hands were everywhere, her waist, her hips, sliding up her sides with deliberate slowness. Every touch was controlled, but barely, like he was holding himself back by sheer force of will. "Tell me to stop," he breathed against her collarbone. "Don't stop." The sound he made was almost a growl. His hands gripped her thighs and lifted her, and instinctively she wrapped her legs around his waist. The new position brought them flush together, and the evidence of his desire pressed hard against her. "Bedroom," she managed. "Are you sure?" Even in the heat of the moment, he was giving her an out. "Because once we crossed this line, I'm sure." That was all the permission he needed. What happened next was intense, overwhelming, and completely changed everything between them. He was controlled but passionate, demanding but attentive, and by the time they finally collapsed together, she knew there was no going back. This wasn't just attraction. It was something deeper, something that terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. "Stay tonight," he murmured, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on her bare shoulder. "I'll take you home in the morning." "Christy is going to kill me," she said, but she was already settling deeper into his embrace. "I'll protect you from Christy." "Can you, though? She's terrifying when she's mad." His laugh rumbled through his chest. "I face down rival crime families, Rebecca. I think I can handle one angry best friend." The casual mention of crime families should have alarmed her. Instead, she nestled closer, feeling safer than she had in years. She woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows and the smell of coffee. For a disoriented moment, she couldn't remember where she was. Then the previous night came rushing back, and heat flooded her face. She had slept with Kong Jae-min, her business partner, a man who had essentially admitted to being involved in organized crime. What had she done? Good morning. He appeared in the doorway wearing nothing but black sweatpants, holding 2 mugs of coffee. His hair was slightly mussed, and there were marks on his shoulder that she had definitely put there. I wasn't sure how you take your coffee, so I made it black. There's cream and sugar on the nightstand. He looked entirely too comfortable with the situation, while she was acutely aware that she was naked beneath his sheets. I should go, she said, clutching the sheet to her chest. Rebecca. He set the mugs down and sat on the edge of the bed. Look at me. Reluctantly, she met his eyes. Do you regret last night? He asked quietly. Did she? Everything about this was complicated and messy, and probably a terrible idea. But when she thought about how she'd felt in his arms, the way he'd looked at her like she was the only thing in the world that mattered. No, she admitted. But I'm scared. Of me. Of this. Of how intense it is. We barely know each other, Jae-min. Then let's change that. He took her hand, his thumb brushing over her knuckles. I'm not asking you to commit to forever. I'm asking you to give us a chance. See where this goes. Can you do that? She thought about all the reasons this was a bad idea. The danger, the complications, the fact that they were supposed to be working together professionally. But she also thought about how alive she felt around him. How, for the first time in years, she wasn't just going through the motions of life, but actually living it. Okay, she whispered, but we need to set some boundaries. For work. Agreed. At the office, we're purely professional. But outside of work, his smile was slow and devastating. Outside of work, you're mine. The possessiveness should have been a red flag. Instead, it sent a thrill through her. I need to tell Christy, she said. She's probably already calling the police. Use my phone. Yours died last night. He handed her his cell, and she noticed with surprise that it had no lock screen. Complete trust, or test. Christy answered on the first ring. Rebecca, where the hell are you? I've been calling all night. I'm fine. I'm with Jae-min. A long pause. You stayed with him. Yes. Rebecca, I know what you're going to say, and you're probably right. But Christy, she glanced at Jae-min, who was watching her with quiet intensity. I'm doing this anyway. Another pause, then a sigh. Okay, but I'm coming over tonight, and you're telling me everything. And I mean everything. Deal. After she hung up, Jae-min pulled her back against him, his arms wrapping around her from behind. So we're doing this, he murmured against her neck. We're doing this, she confirmed, hoping she wasn't making the biggest mistake of her life. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of stolen moments, secret dates, and falling deeper into something she couldn't control. Jae-min was unlike anyone she'd ever known. At work, he was cold and ruthless, the CEO who commanded absolute respect. But alone with her, he was different. He took her to hidden restaurants where locals ate, to quiet parks at sunset, to his penthouse where they spent hours talking and touching and losing themselves in each other. He was attentive in ways she'd never experienced, remembering small details she'd mentioned in passing, surprising her with her favorite coffee order, texting throughout the day just to check in. You're glowing, Christy observed one Friday evening as they grabbed drinks after work. It's disgusting. Rebecca laughed. I'm happy. Is that so terrible? No, it's just unexpected. Christy stirred her cocktail thoughtfully. I've never seen you like this. You're usually so guarded. He makes me feel safe. The Mafia boss makes you feel safe. Do you hear how insane that sounds? I know. But it's true. When I'm with him, everything else just fades away. Christy's expression softened. I'm glad you're happy, Becca. Really. I just worry. I'm being careful. Are you, though? Christy leaned forward. Because from where I'm sitting, you're falling hard and fast for a man who lives in a world you don't understand. What happens when that world comes crashing in? Rebecca didn't have an answer. The truth was, she'd been so caught up in the intensity of what she and Jae-min shared that she hadn't thought about the consequences. That changed the following Monday. The rumors started that morning. Whispers in the office hallways. Meaningful glances from colleagues who quickly looked away when she caught them staring. What's going on? Rebecca asked a coworker. The woman hesitated. There's talk. About Mr. Kong. What kind of talk? About a woman named Yoon Seo-rin. Apparently, they have history and were spotted together. Rebecca's stomach dropped. What kind of history? I don't know the details. She tried to reach Jae-min all day, but his assistant kept saying he was in meetings. By evening, her anxiety had hardened into anger. We finally called at 8 p.m. She answered immediately. We need to talk, she said before he could speak. Rebecca, Who is Yoon Seo-rin? Silence. Jae-min, answer me. It's complicated, then uncomplicated. Her voice was sharper than she intended. I'm hearing her name everywhere. People are looking at me with pity. So tell me, who is she to you? She's someone from my past. Someone my family wants me to be with. The careful phrasing sent ice through her veins. Be with, like dating, like marrying. The word hit her like a physical blow. You're engaged. No. Yes. It's not. Rebecca, it's not what you think. Then what is it? Because from where I'm standing, it sounds like you've been sleeping with me while being promised to someone else. My world isn't clean, Rebecca, he said, his voice strained. There are expectations, obligations, things I can't just walk away from. You should have told me. He said, I know. I'm sorry. But I was afraid. Afraid of what? That I'd leave. She laughed bitterly. You should have been more afraid of lying to me. I never lied. You never told me the truth. That's the same thing. Rebecca, please. Let me explain in person. This conversation is over. Her hand shook. I trusted you, Jae-min. I let you into my life, into my bed, and you couldn't even tell me you were promised to someone else. I'm not marrying her. I've told my family no 100 times. But you haven't ended it, have you? You're still stringing her along, still playing the dutiful son. While I'm what? Your secret? Your rebellion. You're not. She hung up. The phone immediately rang again. She ignored it. It rang 17 more times before finally going silent. Christy found her an hour later, surrounded by empty wine bottles and tear-stained tissues. Oh, honey. She pulled her into her arms. I heard. The whole office is talking about it. I'm such an idiot. No, he's the idiot. You're just human. I actually thought he cared about me, Christy. I thought what we had was real. That bastard, Christy breathed. I'm going to kill him. Get in line. Did he try to explain? 15 calls, 20 texts. I haven't answered any of them. She stroked her hair like she was a child. I know you're hurting, and I hate seeing you like this. I trusted him. The words came out broken. And I hate that I still want him. Even knowing he lied, even knowing about her, I still... Her phone buzzed with a text from Jae-min. Please, just let me explain. Give me 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Don't respond, Christy said firmly. Not tonight. Let him sweat. Let him feel what it's like to lose something important. She was right, but that didn't make the ache in her chest any less painful. She cried herself to sleep that night, Jae-min's unanswered messages lighting up her phone screen like accusations. The next morning, the boardroom meeting was mandatory, a high-level strategy session about the partnership's expansion into the Japanese market. She had tried to get out of it, citing illness, but her boss had been adamant. This is your project, Rebecca. You need to be there. So she went, wearing her most professional suit like armor, her emotions locked down tight. Jae-min was already there when she arrived, standing at the head of the table. Their eyes met across the room, and something flashed in his. Pain, regret, desperation. She looked away. The meeting started. She focused on her notes, on the presentations, on anything but the man whose gaze burned into her. Ms. Rebecca, your thoughts on the distribution strategy? One of the executives asked. I think we're being too conservative, she said, her voice professionally detached. If we want to compete in Japan, we need to be aggressive from day one. I disagree, another executive countered. Aggressive expansion in an unfamiliar market is risky. Playing it safe is more risky, she argued. We either commit fully or we don't enter at all. Mr. Kong? Your opinion? Someone asked. Jae-min hadn't taken his eyes off her. Ms. Rebecca is correct. We commit fully. Prepare a revised strategy with her recommendations. The executives nodded, making notes, while she kept her expression neutral, though inside, her heart was racing. Under the table, her phone buzzed. Jae-min, please look at me. She ignored it. Another buzz. I can't focus on anything but you. She deleted it. Another. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But please, Rebecca, don't shut me out. She set her phone face down on her lap and forced herself to pay attention to the presentation. The meeting dragged on for another 30 minutes. Everyone out. Jae-min's voice cut through the room like a blade. Now, except Rebecca. The executives exchanged glances but didn't argue. Within seconds, the room emptied, leaving just the two of them in tense silence. She remained seated, staring at her laptop screen. We have nothing to discuss. We have everything to discuss. Then discuss it with Yoon Seo-rin. I'm sure she's very interested in your explanations. He moved closer, his footsteps soft on the carpeted floor. Rebecca, please look at me. No, I'm begging you. Something in his voice, the raw desperation, made her finally raise her eyes. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, hair slightly disheveled, the careful control he always maintained visibly cracking. You look like hell, she said coldly. I haven't slept. I can't eat. I can't think about anything but you and how badly I've hurt you. Good. Maybe now you understand how it feels. He flinched like she'd slapped him. I never meant to hurt you. You have to believe that. I don't have to believe anything. She stood, gathering her things. This was a mistake. All of it. I should have listened to my instincts and stayed away from you. Don't say that. He moved between her and the door, blocking her exit. What we have is real. It's the only real thing in my entire life. What we have is a lie built on secrets. Then let me tell you the truth. All of it. No more secrets. No more half explanations. Just the complete, ugly truth. She wanted to refuse, wanted to push past him and never look back. But the desperate look in his eyes, the tremor in his hands. You have 5 minutes, she said finally. Relief flooded his face. Thank you. He gestured to the chair she'd vacated, but she remained standing. If she sat, if she got comfortable, her resolve might crumble. Yoon Seo-rin, he began, each word carefully measured. Her father is my father's best friend. They've known each other for 40 years, built their empires together. I don't care about their friendship. Tell me about you and her. When I was 25, our families decided we should marry, an alliance to strengthen both families' positions. I refused, multiple times. But my father is persuasive. He threatened to disown me, to cut me off from everything I'd worked for. So I agreed to try, to see if Seo-rin and I could make it work. Her nails dug into her palms. And did you? Make it work. We dated for 6 months. Formal dinners, public appearances, everything our families wanted. And one night he stopped, jaw clenching. We slept together. Once. The confirmation hurt more than she expected. Go on. It was wrong. From the first touch, I knew it was wrong. There was no connection, no feeling. It was mechanical, obligatory, like checking a box on a list. So you ended it. I told her we weren't compatible, that I couldn't marry someone I didn't love. She agreed, or at least I thought she did. But our families, he ran a hand through his hair. They never accepted it. They kept pushing, kept arranging situations to throw us together. My father made it clear that refusing the marriage meant refusing the family. And you chose the family. He stepped closer, and she forced herself not to retreat. I chose survival. Until I met you, he said. That photo you sent, it changed everything. Because suddenly, I wanted something for myself. Something real. And when I met you, when we started spending time together, I realized what I've been missing my entire life. Pretty words, she said, though her voice wavered. But you still didn't tell me about her. Because I was a coward. Because I was afraid you'd run if you knew the complications. And I couldn't bear the thought of losing you before I'd even really had you. His hand lifted, hovering near her face, but not quite touching. I know I should have told you. I know I hurt you by keeping it secret. But Rebecca, you have to believe me. She was never my choice. You are. You always have been. She wanted so badly to believe him, to let his words wash away the hurt and anger. But trust once broken. How do I know you mean it? She whispered. How do I know I'm not just your rebellion? Your way of defying your family? Because he stopped, seeming to struggle with something internal, then made a decision. Because I'm ending it. All of it. I'm telling my father tonight that I will never marry Yoon Seo-rin. That I choose you. Consequences be damned. Jaemin. And I'm telling Seo-rin the same thing. To her face. So there's no ambiguity, no room for her to twist things. His eyes burned with intensity. I'm choosing you, Rebecca. Publicly. Permanently. If you'll let me. The words hung between them, weighted with promise and threat and desperate hope. Your family will never accept me, she said. Then I'll leave the family. You'd lose everything. Not everything. His hand finally made contact, cupping her face with such gentleness it made her eyes sting. I wouldn't lose you. And you're the only thing that matters. A tear slipped free before she could stop it. He caught it with his thumb, his expression anguished. Please, he whispered. Please don't cry. I can handle your anger, your hatred, Anything but your tears. I'm not crying because I'm sad. Her voice broke. I'm crying because I want so badly to believe you. And I'm terrified of being hurt again. Then let me prove it to you. He leaned forward, resting his forehead against hers. Give me one more chance. Let me show you that you're not a secret or a rebellion. You're everything. Every logical part of her brain screamed to refuse. But her heart, her stupid, traitorous heart, was already reaching for him. One chance, she breathed. But Jaemin, if you hurt me again, I won't. I swear on everything I am, I won't. Then he kissed her, and she kissed him back, and all the pain and anger melted in a desperate need. His hands tangled in her hair, pulling her closer, and she let him. Let herself sink into the feeling of being wanted, chosen, loved. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he smiled. The first real smile she'd seen from him in days. I love you, he said simply. I should have said it sooner. Should have made it clear from the beginning. But I'm saying it now. I love you, Rebecca. The words settled in her chest, warm and terrifying and absolutely right. I love you too, she admitted. Even though you're complicated and dangerous, and probably going to ruin my life. His laugh was soft. Probably. But I'll make it worth it. I promise. What they didn't know, what they couldn't have known, was that Yoon Seo-rin had eyes everywhere. And she had just watched Jaemin choose Rebecca through the boardroom's glass walls. That evening, Seo-rin sat in her penthouse apartment, phone in hand, fury radiating from every pore. She had seen the kiss, seen the way Jaemin looked at that woman, like she was something precious, something worth fighting for. She's nothing, Seo-rin muttered to herself. A mistake, a temporary distraction. Even as she said it, Seo-rin knew the truth. Jaemin had never looked at her that way. Not once in all the years their families had pushed them together. Her phone rang. Her father. I heard, he said without preamble. Jaemin refused the marriage. Again. It's because of her. That woman. Rebecca. Then remove her from the equation. The words were casual, but the meaning was clear. Father. Do what needs to be done, Seo-rin. Convince Jaemin that she's a liability. That choosing her means losing everything. If he still refuses. A pause. Make the choice for him. The line went dead. Seo-rin stared at her phone, her reflection ghost-like in the dark screen. Then she smiled. She made a call. I need you to arrange an accident, she said coldly. Make it look random. A mugging gone wrong. Nothing traceable. Target. Her name is Rebecca. I'll send you the details. When? Soon. Before Jaemin does something stupid like announcing their relationship publicly. She hung up and poured herself wine, satisfaction warming her from the inside. If Jaemin wouldn't choose her willingly, she would simply eliminate his other option. Part 2 coming soon.